Guys, unajua ukikula supu moja utakuwa na superpowers?
Let me try. Jiamini.
Wow. Indomie, now available in chicken, beef, and Supermojo. Jiamini.
Hey guys, so I'm about to head out to meet the girls. As you know, this is the outfit of the day. We're about to go out and we're going to meet the girls.
This is NTV.
Glad you could join us on NTV at 1 this afternoon. My name is Olive Burrows. We start in Migori County, where with less than 2 hours left before the county assembly reopens, tension continues to rise in the town, with police donning anti-riot gear and mounting roadblocks in and around the town to enhance security ahead of an anticipated showdown in the House, where a motion to impeach the governor, Okoth Obado, is expected to be tabled. NTV's Oko Okusa now joins us live from Migori with the latest. Okusa, are there simmering tensions?
Of course, Olive, there are simmering tensions if we are to go by the heavy presence of police around the town, and specifically around the county assembly, where it is expected that 41 members of the county assembly are supposed to report in, say, 1.5 hours' time. Remember, they have been on recess since August 6th, and they're resuming today. And of course, it's also expected that this is the day that the march talked about impeachment of Governor Obado is supposed to be kicked off. That is the process, the motion to be tabled there. Earlier on, we managed to speak with a couple of the members of the county assembly, including the majority leader, that is Edward Oro, who confirmed that they'll be going on with the party position, which is ODM, resolve that Governor Okoth Obado should be impeached following the graft case that is surrounding him. So besides that, we also managed to speak with the Deputy Speaker, that is David Chacha, who confirmed that the Speaker's office is ready to kick off or to go ahead with this process in case the members of County Assembly will bring it before them. But of course, they also reckon that it is a process that may not actually take a short time, the way a lot of people are anticipating, that this is something that could drag on even for weeks. And so that is basically what is happening right now here. Yesterday we got reports that some unknown faces or goons had been spotted in town, occasioning that particular heavy police presence in the town today. And right here where I am standing is the home of the man himself, that is Governor Okoth Obado, who has agreed or granted us an exclusive interview here. And maybe just to ask him one simple question, Governor. There's a lot of accusations that are being leveled against you. One is that you have intimidated the members of the county assembly and even gone as far as compromising some of them. What do you have to say about this?
That is totally untrue. That is falsehood that has been fabricated to intimidate and scare not only the MCS but the general public. I have nothing absolutely to fear, and there's no need for me to intimidate or even scare the MCS. If anything, the Migori County MCS are very mature, very capable, very competent, and independent thinkers who have been conducting their affairs over the years very, very maturely. I've never run into any problem with them, and I don't see me running into any problem with them in the foregoing future. So it is not true at all that I'm the one intimidating him.
Okay.
But it is true that there are forces who are really trying to intimidate the general public. There are forces who are really trying to deploy all sorts of tactics to ensure that Obado is painted in that negative picture. And that is what is happening today, really. And the people are greatly concerned by the heavy presence of the police. If the police are there to keep peace, they are highly welcome. And in all cases and at all times, I like the presence of police. Because if they are doing their job without trying to intimidate the assembly, as was predicted by some operatives, then it is just good. We welcome them and we want them to stay so that peace prevails. It is that peace that I've been praying for. And I want to ask each and every Kenyan to pray for us so that the peace we have been enjoying over the years remains and prevails.
Okay.
It is only unfortunate that of late, forces from outside Migori County have been infiltrating our ranks and files with the sole purpose of portraying me in bad picture so that they create chaos, and they are even deploying some very, very desperate tactics, including printing my t-shirts. And I want to tell the general public that at no time have I authorized the printing of my t-shirts for whatever reason to be distributed to the youth so that they can adorn them and cause mayhem, which will be later blamed on me.
Okay.
So whoever you see putting on my t-shirt,
all right, let's cross over now to Capitol Hill, where Okoth Obado's party leader, Raila Odinga, is addressing the press. Let's listen in.
And do not end up in the accounts and pockets of individuals. And I use this meeting to assure the historically marginalized communities, including the Ma, that the President and myself have their interests in mind and in all the consultations we hold. We are keen to ensure each part of this country and each community has its interests taken care of, whether if it is through revenue sharing or appointments and general development. I appeal to these leaders to stand for the united Kenya and tell off those preaching war and issuing threats against fellow Kenyans. This country has known bad times before because of politics. You have gone to war in 1992, 97, and 2007. Nobody should try to take this country to war again because of politics. We, as you can see, these leaders, some of them are members of parliament. We have even the former governor of Kajiado with us here, His Excellency Olen Kedianye, the former chairman of the Kajiado County Council, Mr. Kores is here, Peris Tibiko is here, former Speaker of the Nairobi County Assembly, Magelo is also here. Commissioner Limsengi is also here with us. The former Senator Olemositet is also here with us. So it is a very powerful delegation from the Kajiado County which has come to see us today. And we are, of course, going through this pandemic of COVID. We are hoping that the curve will level and that in the not too distant future, we are going to be able to open up the country for wider visits and political consultations. They also agree with me that there is need for us, when that time comes, to move with speed and conclude the process of the BBI. I assure them that Regi will soon be very back with us here. Nobody can stop reggae. So with those remarks now, I'm going to invite Honorable Junaid Mohammed to come and say a few words and invite a few of the leaders here to make some comments. Junaid.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Prime Minister, before I invite my colleagues, Honorable Tobiko and Honorable Ole Magelo, I want to add and reiterate what the Prime Minister said, and I want to ask the Deputy President to spare this country the politics of war and threats and violence. It is dishonest and old school for Ruto to send his people to...
Away from the politics of utterances, we move on to matters of corruption. And the KEMSA board members, led by the chairman, Kembi Gitura, are currently being grilled at the EACC headquarters. The authority has been under investigation for close to 2 months over the irregular procurement of 7.6 billion shillings worth of COVID-19 medical supplies. We are now joined by our senior reporter, Seth Olale, who's been camping at Integrity Center since morning. Seth, did they have anything to say as they went in for questioning?
Well, it's extremely cold here at the Integrity Center, which is hosting the EACC headquarters, and of course, since morning, board members of KEMSA have been here. The grilling is still ongoing. We're talking about the board led by the chairman, Kembi Gitura. Of interest to EACC, they want to establish whether this particular board was actively involved in the 7.6 billion procurement scandal at KEMSA involving COVID-19 medical supplies. They want to know whether the board authorized the secretariat that is being led by the CEO, Jana Manjari, to over-procure items for COVID-19. Remember, this particular board, in front of the Joint Senate Committee investigating the KEMSA scandal, did say that it did not take part in this particular procurement. But however, the board chairman, that is Kembi Gitura, was taken to task by a section of senators over his involvement. And they did produce a letter that was written by the board chairman, that is Kembi Gitura, to the CEO at KEMSA, Jana Manjari, stating, or rather instructing him to sign a particular tender. And in section of that letter did indicate that the board chairman himself, stating that in as much as the matter is still under investigation, the tender is still under investigation, but the EACC, he was directing the chief executive at KEMSA, Jana Manjari, to go on to proceed and sign this particular tender. So that is what EACC is really relying upon, just in a bid to try and establish whether this particular board was actively involved in this particular tender. Remember that this particular board, led by the chairman Kembi Gitura, is also expected later on to appear before the Senate Joint Committee investigating this particular scandal. And we are camping here to establish what will come out from this particular grilling that started minutes after 9 a.m. It's still ongoing. And like I mentioned to you, it is only the board members. We haven't seen any member of the secretariat led by the chief executive, Jana Manjari. And of course, this is an interesting story that we will be highlighting in our subsequent bulletin.
Thank you, Seth Olale. Seth Olale speaking to us from Integrity Center, where the KEMSA board members are undergoing questioning over the utilization of COVID-19 funds. Now back to politics, and a section of leaders led by Kieni MP Kanini Kega have called on the Deputy President William Ruto to publicly apologize on behalf of his allies who abused President Uhuru Kenyatta. The leaders have termed the recent utterances as dangerous to the stability of the country.
Even if you disagree with President Uhuru and even disagree with William Ruto, let us not throw epithets at them, because the offices that these individuals carry, the presidency, is an office that must be respected. You need to stand and start abusing the mother to the president. What are you talking about? What value are you adding to the person you are supporting? Unamwharibia tu wewe, you are interested in your seat.
Hatutakubali viongozi ambao wako na nia kama hiyo ya kufikiria wanaweza leta vurugu, wanaweza leta vitisho ili wapate zile viti wanatarajia kupata huko nyumaye. Na tukaona ni kama kejeli ama irony. Naibu rais akiandika katika mtandao wake kusema kwamba hata kubali mtu yeyote kutusi rais ama familia yake. Ili hali wandani wake ndio wamekuwa wakiongoza vita kumkosea rais heshima na kukosea familia ya rais heshima.
What do you make of those sentiments? Should Deputy President William Ruto apologize for remarks made by those who are considered his allies? In the same vein, should President Uhuru Kenyatta apologize to Deputy President William Ruto for remarks made by his allies or those perceived to be his allies against him? Tweet us your thoughts using the @NTV Kenya handle, or you can tweet me directly on @Burrows. Now, the government has integrated the services of 3 parastatals in a push to improve efficiency and reduce the cost of operations. The Kenya Ports Authority, Kenya Pipeline Company and the Kenya Railways Company will now be working under the newly established Kenya Transport and Logistics Network. Kevin Mutai spoke earlier to the Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani, who is in Mombasa. Kevin, what did he have to say?
Well, now, Olive, first, good afternoon, and it's now official that the 3 state corporations will have to work under one entity called the Kenya Logistics and Transport Network, established by President Uhuru Kenyatta through an executive order number 5 issued on the 7th. Now, thereafter, given a grace period of 30 days, whereby a special team came up with various forms and legal means on how to merge these 3 parastatals to work together. And of course, that was officiated by the CS Treasury Ukur Yatani, who was in Mombasa and was taken around the 3 corporations, and of course reiterating that this is aimed at boosting efficiency and of course ensuring that they cut down on the cost of production. Yatani also reiterated on the government's commitment using this particular move to also create job opportunities for thousands of Kenyans who will be employed. And again, what is also worth noting is that, Olive, that the 3, within the next 60 days, there is a special task force that has been formed, which is already having the boots on the ground to ensure that the 3 state corporations will have to also merge some of the activities such as the ICT services, and of course even the CS saying that in some way they'll even find the HR services being administered at the Kenya Ports Authority will require to be the same services being catered for at the Kenya Pipeline Corporation, and of course the Kenya Railway Services. And of course again saying that it does not make any economic sense to have these 3 institutions and working under different buildings, and saying that we might have an instance whereby the 3 institutions will have to work under one roof in some of the cities, whereby these key installations are very important in driving the economic agenda of this country. And of course, Ukur Yatani is saying that this is going to open a new framework in terms of making Kenya one of the Africa's best logistical hub in terms of trade, with of course the Kenya Ports Authority being one of the transit center for goods, not only here in the country, but of course also within the East African, and of course inviting other member states who now will be able to benefit from these services. As I said, that the task force will now have 60 days to ensure that there will be full implementation. This comes after the signing of the framework agreement from the chairpersons of the 3 parastatals. So going forward, it will be interesting to see how these institutions will, what they will be doing to ensure that they will be generating revenue for the government. But of course, we'll be highlighting other areas of key concern. Remember, it is a matter that has also elicited mixed reactions from different stakeholders, not only here in the coast region, but of course even the leaders from the region who are of a different opinion. But pen has been put on the paper, and definitely this is now official that the 3 will be supervised by the ICDC. That is industrial and commercial corporation that will be anchored in Nairobi. Back to you, Olive.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin will be filing a comprehensive report for 7 and 9 p.m. bulletins, and we'll get into the small print that defines that agreement. Now, you should know people is a phrase that captures the circumstances under which she lost her job as the Deputy Chief Justice. Nancy Baraza is still tough-talking, speaks passionately about women empowerment, and is considering, get this, vying for president. She spoke exclusively to Dan Mwangi on these and more in our We the People series. Here is a sneak peek on what to expect tonight in that one-on-one interview.
So I'm still serving Kenyans, although not with the opulence. We make do with a small salary. These huge cars, really, they tint them. So you sit inside, you never get to see your surroundings. You don't see these people. Whenever the 2/3 gender rule comes up for debate, it's primitive reasoning, ignorant reasoning, because you are not doing anybody a favor. I have never lived for Nancy. I have lived for the less.
When you left office, it was under a circumstance that, was not the ideal.
This narrative that I'm arrogant and whatever, it's not me.
Do you feel if it was a man, the outcome would have been different?
Men escape with murder. They get away with murder.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
New Blue Band peanut butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts. And a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band peanut butter.
Oh my, oh my, oh my days. Life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. Life is wonderful. Never understood. Never understood. Life can be this good.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Indigestion and heartburn? Eno gets to work in 6 seconds and works on the 6 symptoms of heartburn so you can keep living life non-stop. Eno, fight heartburn and indigestion fast.
Parenting is all about learning when to be tough and when to be gentle. Tough, gentle. But when it comes to fever, you need to be both. Panadol Baby and Infant starts to work on fever in 15 minutes and is gentle on the tummy. Tough call. Panadol Baby and Infant. Tough on fever, gentle on your child.
Thank you for staying with us on NTV at 1. Emurua Dikir, Member of Parliament Johanna Ngeno, has been charged with hate speech and abusive misconduct following the statement he made against President Uhuru Kenyatta. Ruth Sarmwe joins us live from the Nakuru Central Police Station, where the Member of Parliament spent the night after he was arrested on Monday evening. Ruth, could you bring us up to speed?
As you've mentioned, Olive, Johanna Ngeno was arrested yesterday evening at his home in Mogodo, Transmara, and this elicited a lot of reaction from his residents, where they took to the streets and barricaded the road. They lit fires to stop, trying to demonstrate to stop his his arrest. So he was brought to Nakuru Central Police Station where he spent the night. And today, since morning, this station has been heavily guarded by armed officers where they've been checking and ensuring anyone who steps into these premises anyone does not just step into these premises, but they have a reason as to why they're coming into these premises. So as you mentioned, the officer, the vocal legislator has been arrested, is being charged for abusive misconduct and hate speech. And as they say, according to that, the statement which he issued on about the president, the abusive misconduct is likely to cause a breach of peace among the people who are living in Mau. And I'd like to read a statement which has been sent by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, which concerning the apprehension and the arrest of this Member of Parliament. And it says, I am satisfied that there is sufficient evidence to initiate the prosecution of the MP under the National Cohesion and Integration, where it is in public interest to prefer criminal charges against the suspect, as his actions may open old wounds and incite different communities in the area against each other, owing to the fact that Mau Forest has been an area of contention. So this is just what has been happening. Right now, the court, the MP is being presented in court and the court session is ongoing. So we are going to bring you more details of what is happening concerning this issue, which has elicited a lot of reaction from legislators and even residents. Back to you, Olive.
Thank you, Ruth. We wait to see how those events will pan out. Now, residents of Ngoigwa in Thika are now mourning after 3 men fell into an underground water tank for the Nyadira Square, a 6-story residential apartment. The incident occurred as the first victim was trying to pump the water for residents. The other 2 are said to have fallen in as they tried to rescue the man.
The Nyadira Square is a residential apartment that seems to be adequately facilitated to meet the needs of the residents. Underneath the 6-story building is a 90-foot tank that cushions the residents from perennial water shortages. Attempts by a serviceman to pump water to residents, like he has done many times before, turned tragic.
Nilikuwa kwa salon, nikakimbia mbio, nikamuuliza nini inaendelea. Akaniambia ni derito mwenye alikuwa anafanya kazi hapa ameanguka kwa shimo.
Hawa watu walikuwa na maintain, walikuwa wanatengeneza hiyo kisima kwa sababu inakuanga na maji ile ambao inatumiangwa pale.
Outside the building are 2 donkeys with 2 plastic tanks. The owner is well known by residents in the larger Ngoigwa area as he supplies water to them when the shortage is too much. Today will be his last day to operate his business, as he too died inside the water reservoir.
Ilikuwa waende pahali wachote maji hapa kwa hii plot iko hapa karibu. Suddenly but kukawa hiyo simo. Ile kitu walikuwa nayo kama kuvuta maji, generator, ikakata mafuta. Ikaendewa mafuta ikawekwa, lakini sasa kitambo waigurumishe mmoja kasirahi huko ndani. Sasa walifanya wakatafuta kamba ili wamtoe, lakini mwapili hata yeye akakwama.
Yet another man is also said to have fallen inside trying to help the 2 victims. Emergency response teams made their way to the area for a rescue mission that quickly turned to a mission to retrieve the bodies.
Sikuona hiyo mwili ya 3. Nimejaribu kuangalia na kusearch na tool moja yetu tunaita anchor hook, lakini siku manage kuipata hiyo mwili, but tunashuku kama hiyo mwili iko tunapeananga masaa 72 ili hiyo mwili iweze kukuja juu. So tunaambia wenyeji wakuwe tu wapole, si tutawasaidia baada ya hiyo masaa 72.
It will be some time until the residents recover from the great sense of loss, more so knowing that one of the victims could still be inside the tank. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
How tragic. Let's now dive straight into the sports news. And Innocent Namkos Simiyu is back as the Kenya Sevens head coach, with the Kenya Rugby Union appointing him on a 2-year contract. Simiyu, who coached the Shujaas for 2 seasons between 2016 and 2018, replaces New Zealander Paul Fenny, who left at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. In his last season in charge, Kenya finished 8th with a record 104 points, surpassing the century point barrier for the first time in the country's history. The international rugby calendar still looks uncertain, however, with the Dubai, Cape Town, Hamilton and Sydney Sevens legs of the 2020-21 HSBC series already cancelled. Only 6 legs remain in the season that will hopefully conclude in Tokyo with the 2020 Olympics. Six-time champion Serena Williams battled through a challenging 3-set test against 15th seed Maria Sakkari to reach the US Open quarterfinals. The 38-year-old looked composed as she took the first set in 37 minutes, but was forced to find her best tennis as the Greek pushed the game to 2. Submitted a transfer request on the 25th of August, but rescinded it on after resistance from his club as well as the La Liga. It's the first time the Argentine has trained at the club since the arrival of new manager Ronald Koeman. Barcelona begin their La Liga campaign against Villarreal on the 27th of September. Messi trained on his own, as did Philippe Coutinho, while the rest of the squad your host Olive Burrows, and it's been such a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
This is NTV.